talked to James. He wants to be here. He wants to be here long term as well. So I don't think anything's changed other than noise from the outside. James wants to be here. We're building with James, and we think we have the best chance to win with James.
It sounded like, and I don't want to misinterpret you, that you guys are not trading James Harden.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, then. Well, Nets head coach Steve Nash doubled down. You heard him say on Sunday James Harden wouldn't be traded. Then, before Thursday's deadline, Steve Nash said James Harden wouldn't be traded. Turns out James Harden was traded. And get this, even after the trade, somehow, some way, the Nets still remain the favorites to win the NBA title. Perhaps we all should double down on Brooklyn. A blockbuster trade at the deadline. Brooklyn sending James Harden to Philadelphia for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round draft picks. Harden forced his way out of Houston. He does it again, forcing his way out of Brooklyn. Ben Simmons wasn't happy either. Now they both get a fresh start. Simmons hasn't played in a game this season, but says he's ready to go, ready to make his season debut and his Nets debut. Welcoming former NBA Coach of the Year Avery Johnson as a player helped the Spurs win an NBA title. Nets head coach Steve Nash said James Harden wouldn't be traded. Turns out James Harden is traded, Avery. When you first heard the details, your reaction was what?
Well, first of all, I've been teammates with Steve Nash. He's an incredible guy. Obviously, he's trying to find himself as a coach. But in a situation like that, it's probably good to refer that question to the general manager and just say, hey, at this time, I don't have any information. We've talked to James. Sure, he would love to remain with the Nets, but everybody, unless you're Michael Jordan or Kevin Durant or LeBron James, everybody's tradable. So he put himself in a bad situation. When I look at this trade, the Nets won this trade. They got a young Ben Simmons, a guy that can play on the defensive end, help them with rebounding. He can guard multiple positions. But James, obviously, if they get the version of James that was with the Houston Rockets, that's in shape, that can score the basketball, get to the free throw line, then that's obviously a win for the 76ers. But overall, when I look at the how this trade, conceptualizing it moving forward, I believe that the Brooklyn Nets got the better end of this trade.
Yeah, I'd argue, and I'd agree right there with you, that the Nets certainly got the better end of the deal. However, when you look at it from Philadelphia's perspective, they're in win-now mode, as are the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they're the favorites to win the NBA title here. The 76ers aren't going anywhere either. They've got the favorite to win the NBA MVP in Joel Embiid. How do you see that dynamic working out with Joel and now James Harden in Philly?
Well, I'm not concerned about Joel Embiid. He's proven that he's in the MVP conversation this year. He's in much better shape. But when you have a guy that's had problems with a hamstring, I had a hamstring injury towards the end of my 16-year career. Hamstrings are very temperamental. Sometimes you never get over a hamstring. So I just need to see a healthy, well-conditioned James Harden for me to really evaluate this particular move and how well he fits with the 76ers. The 76ers also lost Doc Rivers, the head coach's son-in-law, Seth Curry. That's a lot of shooting and being able to spread the floor. Of course, they're high on Tyrese Maxey, the second-year player, but he can't do what Seth Curry can do from the three-point line with Seth Curry's experience. So, again, in this situation, I don't know if James Harden and Joel Embiid, as good as they are, probably can combine for 65 points a game. I don't know if that's good enough to dethrone the Milwaukee Bucks, leapfrog the Brooklyn Nets, or even if they're good enough and better than teams like the Miami Heat or the Chicago Bulls.
Well, you know, Avery, this feels like a big win for Ben Simmons, right? He didn't want to really necessarily shoot the basketball. Now he doesn't really have to worry about shooting the basketball. You're going to go to a team with 2 ball-dominant players in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Just go play defense. Is that really the message now for Steve Nash when he gets Ben Simmons in the mix?
Well, go play defense, and when they spread the floor with all of their shooters, when they want to play small and they want to play Ben Simmons at 5, and you're spreading the floor with Patty Mills and Seth Curry and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, then take the ball to the basket and finish, because there's no help. because you cannot leave any of those guys. Now, sure, to be a challenge when he's playing with guys like Andre Drummond, but at the end of the day, this is a match made in heaven for a guy like Ben Simmons.
Yeah, that's also a sneaky part of the deal. I mean, that's a great pickup, getting Andre Drummond in the trade. I'll remind you of this. Brooklyn's Big Three played 16 games together. The Nets went 13-3 in those games. What could have been, Avery? What could have been?
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.